Over the past few weeks, I released my prospect rankings for the 2023 NFL Draft, and now it's time for me to release my big board. But I ain't like Mel Kiper, I ain't like Tom McShay, who released a top 32. Shoot, I mean, PFF and Mike Renner, they released a top 100, but I'll do you one better. I'm going to release a top 150. That's right. What's crack-a-lackin'? It's your boy, Broshmo, just in case you did not know. So go ahead, become a bro, and subscribe. Leave this video a thumbs up if you enjoy the content. As always, let me know what you think in the comment section below. Let's have that nice, beautiful football discourse. Since we're talking about 150 players here, I'm going to go ahead and give you kind of a quick blurb about them. So let's go ahead, get into this sucker with Jacorian Bennett out of Maryland. I'm not going to lie, I kind of like him better than Deontay Banks, or at least I want to. But I get what people are saying with Deontay Banks in terms of the caliber of athlete. Fortunately for Bennett, I think we were going to see him at the Senior Bowl this year. Matter of fact, we will. Zach Pickens next on the list here. Just like you play, like there's a lot of high-end reps when it comes to Pickens. It's just they're few and far between. We have yet to see that consistency from him. We were hoping to see at least the last 2 seasons. Just hadn't been there. Kind of is what it is. Quindell Johnson out of Memphis. I'm actually a big fan of. I think he can really play anywhere in the defensive backfield. If you want him in the slot, he can do that. He's got decent range to play deep, and then you also play in the box. The missed tackles were a bit higher this season, but like he's been a relatively pretty sure tackler over the course of his career. And then we got Fehoko, the edge rusher, out of San Jose State. He had another banger year for San Jose State there, as he finished with over 60 pressures, 12 sacks, 21.5% win rate. So very, very solid. We'll see him at the Shrine. Rajon Wright out of Oregon State, excuse me. He is the brother of Noshawn Wright, and Wright, like he's got really good ball skills. It's just like he's not the most explosive or the fastest athlete at the corner position. Then Antonio Mafe out of UCLA, former nose tackle, now playing on the offensive interior. They're definitely a guy to watch out for. We will see him, I believe, in the Shrine. Let me just go confirm. We will see him in the Shrine. Then Yazir Abdullah out of Louisville. He had a huge year. He was another guy with over 21% win rate there as an edge rusher, but with his size, I think they're going to try to see what he can do off ball. I believe he's going to be at the Shrine, so we'll see him there. But he had a stellar season for Louisville. Ricky Stromberg, just been a very solid center over the course of his career there for Arkansas. And then Joe Tippmann is a favorite of mine. I think he could end up being a hot riser through this whole process. I really, really do. I think he's got really good athleticism. He tones down on the penalties. Like he always starts out the year with a ton of penalties, and then like he just eases in and he just becomes very, very solid. I think he could be a good riser. I don't know about top 100. I don't think he'll get there, but I think he can get in the top 120. Ivan Pace Jr. is a banger player out of Cincinnati. Like, this dude was a monster this past season. However, he lacks ideal size. Like, the height's not great, the length's not great, and he's not exactly a high-end athlete. I think he's a very good athlete, just not one that, with his lack of tools, that'll be drafted highly. Like, honestly, could end up being, like, though they have two very different skill sets. Malcolm Rodriguez was another guy that was kind of frowned upon because of his size, and he ended up having a very good rookie season for the Lions. So Ivan Pace, I think, potentially could have that type of trajectory. Just a very good football player. Here at 140, I have Deuce Vaughn. That's going to probably get under the skin of a few people that I'm just not nearly as high on him as probably a majority of the community, just because I don't think his size will translate well. Like, you can fool me once with Tutu Atwell, you ain't gonna fool me twice. I think he's gonna be a very good scat back, but in the early day 3 area, I feel better about taking that then. You know, like his lack of size, his size just straight up sucks. It is what it is. Clayton Tune here. We're not going to be seeing quarterback for a good while after this, but Clayton Tune, I think, has a very Bailey Zappi esque qualities to him in terms of maybe how you can project him to the next level. I'm actually a big fan of Tune. And then Anthony Orgy. We have an Orgy here at 138. Oh my gosh. He's just good, classic good linebacker. Decent enough range. Not going to make splash plays in coverage. Just do good linebacker. And then Jared Wayne here at 137 didn't have the most impressive Hula Bowl weekend or week there at the practices, but like his tape, man, like it's not like he's an explosive athlete or anything, but like, man, his tape is very impressive because like he's got a very nice build. He's got very sure hands at that. He's able to like at 6'3", 208, like he's got like seriously good straight line speed, and like he has the ability to make plays after the catch. I think I'm probably going to be a bigger fan of him than the general community. Tyler Steen here, former Vandy player, moved to Alabama this year, had a pretty solid season. Hopefully he has a good Senior Bowl. I think he has a good shot to maybe rise up boards because like the tackle class gets real murky at the back end of the third round, early day 3. I think he has a good shot to potentially be a good riser. And then Chase Brown. This is another one. People are just gonna be like, you hate running backs. I don't. I don't value them as much as the general community, and I just think there's more dynamic backs in this class. Chase Brown, like, yeah, he's very good. I think he's gonna be a good committee back in the NFL, but like the fumbles were huge with him. 5 fumbles this season? The yards after contact aren't great. What is it? 2.84, so under 3, but still not a great number. Like, I think he's good. He's not very dynamic. He's just do good back. Roshan Johnson, I think, has a good chance of elevating his stock at the Senior Bowl because poor guy had to sit behind stinking the best running back in this class, Bijan Robinson. But like Johnson's very good in his own right. And then we have Jartavius Martin, one of my favorite players actually in this class. I think he's going to end up just profiling as a slot guy, but golly, he's very good at that. It's unfortunate slot's not a position that's drafted relatively highly, but I think Martin, like, there's a ton of Illinois prospects in this class, strangely enough, that I have in my 150, but I think Martin's one of my favorites. Dude's got legit ball skills. I could actually pull up what he did this year. 10 pass breakups, 3 interceptions. That's just insane. Love to see it. Daryl Luter Jr. out of South Alabama. I feel like I'm going to be higher on him actually than the general community. He's a guy that, if you go back to 2021, the ball skills looked better than they were this year. And I really think he does have a knack of finding the football. He's got a nose for the football. He's going to be another guy at the Senior Bowl this year that I think could elevate his stock. Byron Young out of Alabama, a bit undersized, but he's just like, he's your typical Alabama prospect. Good against the run. Decent penetrator, not a lot of lateral ability to him, but he's a good player that honestly could end up sneaking into the third or into day 2 just because that's how Alabama prospects work. And then at 130, we got Ronnie Hickman, man. I think he probably is going to be a box only safety guy you want to, because he's just so good around the line of scrimmage, whether it's in the slot or in the box. But I think he has range to play deep or maybe in a split high. But this guy's at his best when he's coming downhill with the head of steam. Kobe Wooden, he's a bit of a tweener there at Auburn. Might be more ideal for like a 3-4 defensive end. Then A.T. Perry, another guy that the general community is higher on than I am. I really think he's probably just a contested catch guy, and he's like an okay one at that. He'd be like, no, he's got ridiculously strong hands, but his hands are a bit hit or miss. I think he probably hovered around that 10% drop rate this season. Just go pull up 9% drop rate this year, so that's kind of scary. It's not like he's got like average contested catch numbers, like I don't know. I'm just not as high on him as the general community. Anthony Johnson, another guy that's going to be in the Senior Bowl. Him and what is it? Fentrell Cypress had a banger year there at Virginia. Both showcased a lot of ball skills. Obviously, Cypress is on his way to Florida State next year, as that team's going to looking really good. I think they're going to probably make a run at the ACC. But Johnson, I can't wait to watch more of him at the Senior Bowl. Owen Papo, man, undersized at linebacker, but he's just such a freak athlete. And he's a guy that gets good leverage, comes downhill with a lot of steam, and he can pancake offensive linemen. Like, he's capable of that. But that's when, he's coming down with a lot of momentum. Like, he moves exceptionally well. It's just the production hasn't been great the last couple of seasons. To be fair, back in 2021, he was banged up. Nick Broecker and Braden Daniels, I could kind of probably talk about in a similar vein. I think these are two guys that probably at the next level could play a variety of different positions, whether it's guard, tackle. I think in Daniels' case, he could probably even kick into center and be A-okay. They're just very versatile offensive linemen. Tajay Spears out of Tulane. This guy is lightning in a freaking bottle, dude. I loved him this season. A bit undersized, but not bad. It's not nearly as bad as some of the other guys in this class. 5'11", 195, but 62 forced missed tackles. His yards after contact, 4.55. That's insane. Love to see it. Literally, he's an explosive play waiting to happen. I'm a big fan. And then I got two linebackers here in Henry To'oto'o and Cam Jones. Cam Jones feels a bit one-dimensional in terms of he's just this come downhill thumper, right? Plays a violent brand of football, but like we saw decent plays in coverage this season, but his year was cut short because of I forgot what the injury was specifically. I got it written down somewhere, but it is what it is. But he only played 5 games. I thought he was on his way to a breakout year, while Henry To'oto'o started the year out really strong. But I think the second half of the season was just like, man, it was a lull. It looked like what we've seen before. Like, he's a really good athlete, but I don't feel like he's ever the production wasn't there to match. Like, he's good at timing his blitzes and whatnot, but he kind of goes through phases as a missed tackler. He's like hot and cold streaks. Never really had splash plays in coverage. So this guy I always expected more from. All right, on to 120, another Maryland prospect. There's a ton of Maryland guys on this list too. We already see 2 on the screen, but Rakim Jarrett, ball skills suck, dude. His drop rate insane, but in terms of what he exceptionally fast athlete, smooth athlete. Like, the upside could be big from him. We can talk about Jalen Duncan real quick. I get it why people like him. Length, movement skills are real nice, but whenever he had to face good to great competition, ended up not rising to the occasion. I don't know. Like, I can't buy into it right now. Like, I feel better about drafting this guy at the end of day 2 or early day 3. But like, a guy that has the potential. Zach Evans, just a great athlete, but man, like, I really thought he was going to be the lead back there at Ole Miss, and he gets beat by a true freshman who, honestly, dude's kind of good. But what was it, Judkins? Something like that. But Zach Evans could go earlier on this list, definitely. Just I feel like the production never matched his ability. Travius Hodges Tomlinson is going to get knocked because of his size. It's just the case. Teams are going to look at him and be like, man, this guy can't play on the outside. He just can't. Not in the NFL. And I kind of hope like maybe he could be like a Darius Williams in the NFL. But I'm hoping his draft stock doesn't get shot like a guy like what was it, Ardarius Washington, who I was pretty high on. I had as like a late day 2, early day 3 pick. Ended up going UDFA. I don't think that would be the case for THT, but if he slips to like, I wouldn't surprise me if he goes like mid to late day 3 just because of the size. Xavier Hutchinson, I know like Alex from Hail Sports is a lot more behind him than I am. I think he could do some good things after the catch, but he's not subtle. He's not explosive. He's got decent long field speed, but like, I mean, I think you're just working with a guy that has good size, go up and be a contested catch guy that can create a little bit after the catch because he's got a good sturdy build. I'm not like wowed by him. Dylan Horton, I'm a huge fan of. Former safety guy, moves like it, but also understand that he wasn't nearly that dominant this year, but I think there's a lot of potential there that just needs to be a little bit polished. Marvin Mims, I'm a huge fan of. In the NFL, he might end up just being a slot guy, but like I think Mims is freaking amazing. I was higher on him going into the year. Fortunately, like Oklahoma had a very turbulent year, to say the less. Say the least. Keaton Mitchell, home run threat anytime he touches the freaking football. This guy, I loved his force missed tackle ability. 75 force missed tackles on the year, and 85 explosive plays. And by explosive plays, I mean just plays of 10 plus yards. Just freaking phenomenal. I think he's gonna be a good committee back. Caillou Blue Kelly here at 112. I still like Blue Kelly. It wasn't exactly an ideal year, but to be fair, Stanford's kind of dog water at this point. It wasn't an ideal year. I felt like some of the physicality or play strength concerns were more apparent this year after like 2021. He had such a stellar outing against Drake London that I didn't. It was kind of weird to see that this season, but I'm hoping he can come back and rehab his stock. I believe he is a Senior Bowl invite as well, most definitely. DJ Turner here at 111, another corner that I think has good upside, has a potential to sneak into the top 100. But just inconsistencies with his technique. It's kind of led to like blown coverages. Just another dude that needs a bit more polish in this class. And then number 110, Brandon Joseph. I used to love Brandon Joseph. I thought he was going to rebound this year, maybe be a potential like fringe first round pick. Didn't happen to be the case. Like the ball skills weren't necessarily there. Be fair, they weren't really throwing his way a lot, but I mean, he was basically this deep freelancing safety. He's just like a good safety that might end up being a slot guy at the NFL. Honestly, Kenny McIntosh, absolutely love him. We've been around the channel for a while. You know, I'm an absolute mark for Kenny McIntosh. This guy, phenomenal kick returner, phenomenal receiving back who I thought improved his patience and his vision this year as kind of the main back for Georgia, but he's just so good out in space. Byron Young out of Tennessee, a guy that's got good physical tools, older prospect, and relatively new to the game of football. I don't believe he started playing football until like his senior year in high school. So actually, hold on, I think he maybe even tried out in college. Here, let me bring up background on him. Yeah, he did not start playing football until trying out at community college. So wild, the journey to get to Tennessee, and look at him now. So yeah, he's a bit unpolished, but he's got definitely good tools. Moro Ojamo out of Texas would be a lot higher on this list if he just had good size. Like, he's a bit of a tweener at 6'3", 285, but like the production's been great. 17% win rate for the interior is pretty darn good. If he could go to like he's gonna be at the Shrine Bowl. If he could show that he could literally play anywhere on the line, I think that shoots him up to top 100. Kendre Miller had a really good year for TCU. TCU had a great year in general, but Kendre Miller, man, really showed out well. He's got good like home run speed, I believe, and that's saying a lot because he's actually got a great build as well. It's 6'2", I want to say, 6 foot 220. So relatively just a good build. So big fan of him. KJ Henry out of Clemson. He made a lot of money this season. I believe he led Clemson in pressures this past year. The win rate was relatively okay for him, 15.9% win rate. To be fair, I think Brian Brazee opened up a lot of opportunities for him, and that's why the win rate's not necessarily that high. Because when they look at win rate, when you look at win rate, you're looking for like one-on-ones, not necessarily coming in on a stunt that's kind of been opened up for you, and that was kind of the case for some of his production this year. Now I'm gonna get out the pronunciation for this one. Eddie Tamiwa, Eddie Barrier out of Northwestern. Another guy that's a bit of a tweener. He played all over the defensive line for Northwestern, mainly played a lot outside, but he kicked it like he played in the B gaps on over 250 snaps. So another guy that's a bit of a tweener, but he's shown good versatility. I'm kind of curious how he will look as an athlete. Another guy going to the Senior Bowl. Gervin Dexter, you might be like, well, Gervin Dexter outside the top 100, this is ludicrous. He should be a top 50 prospect. I would have agreed with you, and I probably did agree with you earlier in the year, but the second half of the season was pretty lackluster, man. Talk about a guy that just needs to play with more consistency. 8.6 win rate is among the worst for what is actually the worst win rate among my top 19 defensive interior prospects. None of them have sub 10% win rates, except for Gervin Dexter. Gervin Dexter's consistency, I mean, he could come in and just show, like, go to the combine, show he's a stellar athlete. Someone will be willing to take a shot on him, but I don't know. We'll see. Jalen Marino Cropper. I'm gonna get this right. Cropper. There we go. Out of Fresno State. A guy that performed exceptionally well in the slot the last few seasons. This year, kicked to the outside, and guess what? He was just as good. Huge fan of this cat's game. Hopefully, we get to see him at the Shrine. Maybe he can sneak into the Senior Bowl. That would be real fun. Here's Deonte Banks. Listen, Deonte Banks is a really good athlete, plays with a lot of good physicality, and typically, I'd rather have a physical player by nature than having to teach someone that is not physical to be physical, because if it's not in your nature, it's going to be kind of hard for you to pick it up. So like, I get why a lot of people like Banks, but listen, too many plays, he takes too many plays off. If he doesn't feel like the play's coming to him, he's done before the whistle. Very handsy. Should have been flagged way more times than he was. How many times was he flagged last year? Pull it up. Okay, he was flagged 8 times, but felt like he should have been flagged a whole lot more. Like, he is overtly physical, so I'm not going to be as high on him as probably the consensus. But I understand why people are high on him. He is a pretty darn good athlete, plays with a good aggression. All right, on to the top 100. Jaquelin Roy out of LSU. I thought this guy was going to have a breakout year. And honestly, I think it was because once Mason Smith went down, I felt like Roy was deflated in that Florida State game. And like, to be fair, his production this year was all right. It was okay. He had a 10% win rate, which is fine. But a dude that's 6'4", 297, like, he played nose tackle almost 300% of the time, like 300% of the time, almost on 300 snaps. That's kind of insane, dude. If you could come in, like no kidding, I guess his win rate was so low. Like, you start putting things together, and it's like, you know what, man? I think this guy could probably be a hot riser, depending on how he does at the combine, because kind of feels like maybe he was played out of position more times than not. We got Olusegun Oluwatimi out of Michigan, played center there. Phenomenal year. Bit of an older guy. I think he's a 6-year prospect, former Virginia transfer. But I like how this guy moves to the second level. He plays with good power. I think he's going to sneak into day 2. Trey Palmer. This cat, former LSU transfer, moved to obviously Nebraska and had a breakout year because he was just stuck behind just good players there at LSU, and he was like, you know what, I'm really good. I'm going to go somewhere I can play. And you know what? Hats off to him. He played exceptionally well there for Nebraska. Kobe Turner has been a favorite of mine. He's another 6-year senior, former Richmond transfer, and then comes to the ACC and just balls out. Another guy that actually played a lot at the nose tackle position despite being sub 300. So good for him. And then we have Hendon Hooker at 96, man. I'd be willing to take a shot late day 2 on Hendon Hooker. I think when it's all said and done, I get it. He's probably not likely to see the practice field in his first season because of the ACL injury, and that's fine. I think a guy who has got reasonably good physical tools, like in terms of his arm, older prospect, so it's not like you don't really see a high ceiling when it comes to Hooker, but I think he could be exceptionally good at the NFL level. So I think I'd be willing to take a shot at him at late day 2. Nick Herbig, probably going to be tried as an off-ball linebacker is he going to be at the Senior Bowl? He's going to be at No Bowl. Got him down for No Bowl right now. I don't even know if he qualifies for Senior Bowl, but we're probably going to see him go the Zach Bond, another former Wisconsin prospect who moved more to an off-ball linebacker after being kind of exclusively a pass rusher at Wisconsin. Keanu Brown, another guy who's got a lot of good ability there to play the nose tackle spot at 317. Just good athleticism, good explosiveness for the position. Steve Avila there at 93 for TCU. Could play center, could play guard. Big, meaty boy. Love to see it. Tyreek Stevenson at a do you, baby. Oh, man, wish we had a better year. Listen, he's got return potential. He did have a couple of muffs this year. That's kind of is what it is. But at his size and athleticism is real nice for the corner position. He's a guy, you look at him, he's like, oh, this guy is a safety, right? He's probably a box safety. Nope. Dude's playing out there in a corner, and he does it at a very good level. Cedric Tillman, listen, I'm just not a fan of contested catch guys, and I think that's kind of what he is. There's a large majority of people are probably going to be higher on him. I'll be shocked if I see him as a top 50 guy, but like anywhere from that like 60 to 90 range, I think is kind of fine for Tillman. It's just I'm not that high on him. All right, on to 90. You got Dorian Williams, man. This guy's a phenomenal coverage linebacker that hits like a freaking pit bull. He's like a pit bull in a Pomeranian's body. Well, to be fair, at what? He's like 230, I want to say 6'1"? 6'2", 230. It's not like he's small for the linebacker position, or at least for today in the NFL. He's not small, but he is on the smaller side of that spectrum. JL Skinner, I got him listed as a box safety. Honestly, I would love to see this guy just move to like linebacker. It's really the case. Maybe use him as a dime linebacker early on, or as a box safety. Like he's just kind of a tweener at this point for me, and Liatu Latu honestly would be a lot higher for me if not for the neck injury. That needs to be checked out at the combine, and listen, the neck injury was severe enough for Washington to not be like, listen, you may want to return to football, but we don't want to be liable to put you back on the field. That's why I transferred to UCLA. Now, to be fair, a similar case where Jalen Phillips, UCLA, wouldn't put him back on the field, so he decided to transfer to Miami. So maybe the neck injury isn't all that bad. To be fair, and the dude played exceptionally well this year, literally had a banger year. So it's just you get nervous. It's kind of a huge red flag. He probably should be a lot earlier. Maybe once we get some of the medical checks back, I'll push him up my board. But because he is a very good technician. He was the best pass rusher there for UCLA, who they brought in North Texas's Murphy Bros, who actually played exceptionally well this year as well. Just Latu was the guy that kind of was the star there. So maybe he moves up. So we'll see. We'll see. Sam Laporta, just a good receiving tight end. Okay blocker, like legit, like especially for Iowa by Iowa standards. Not a good blocker, but Iowa, they got them standards of like, ooh, we like our boys to block. But very good receiving tight end, just drop rates kind of meh. Derek Hall, I've seen like the Draft Network have this guy listed as a first rounder. I don't think he's got good bend, like he's got decent flexibility, but I think typically like Auburn would have to line him up wide 9 for him to really get the corner or get an angle on tackles, so I'm just not entirely as high on him as the community. Cedric Van Pran, I just think is good center. We saw some improvements this year from him, but I still think he's got a bit of a ways to go. Isaiah McGuire, this is Alex from Hail Mary Sports, is one of his favorite prospects. Even Ian Cummins, I think, said he's going to have him top 50. I don't know if I'll get behind that. We'll see him in the Senior Bowl, but like, he does have some money performances this year, so big Senior Bowl man could be a hot riser. Keandre Coburn was a cat that I tweeted. If you follow me on Twitter, I tweeted out this like last week that I was like, I honestly should have been higher on this dude earlier on. Like his win rate, a 15% win rate from the nose tackle position is absolutely ridiculous. 31 pressures, 4 sacks. Like I get it. Like he's he's an older player, not really an older prospect, but like he's gonna be 23 by the time he plays in the NFL. But he is a more veteran player there. So it kind of feels like, okay, this is a man among boys, and finally he sees pass rush production in his final year at Texas. Of course, man, he's a man among boys, but like honestly, like a lot of his tape, I think pretty darn impressive. I think he's better than the early day 3 grade I gave him, so I got him here. Take Bigsby, just a good running back. It really is. Did a lot less dancing this year and more, hey, you know what? My contact balance kind of good, so I'm just going to run through these guys. Matt Bergeron here, another dude that's going to be at Senior Bowl, has a chance to increase his stock, so we'll see if he can do that. On to number 80, DeMarvion Overshone, former safety. Insane wingspan. We saw him get more physical. We saw the play strength increase this year, but it's still going to be a concern when it comes to him. Doesn't have the splash plays you'd like to see in coverage from a former safety. Like back in 2020, he he showcased a lot of that, but it really hasn't been to that level since. So, but still really good prospect. I was actually pretty high on a year and a half ago. Noah Sewell, dude's a freight train that moves exceptionally well. Coverage prowess is kind of want, but like I said, these two guys are relatively close to each other because they kind of offer you two different things. Garrett Williams, ACL injury, cost him much of the season. Dude's gonna test out well. I don't know if he'll be good to go by a pro day. It's going to be close, so I don't know if he does test well. So if he ends up being a faller, it won't surprise me none. But dude, very good athlete. Syracuse actually produces really good secondary players. Luke Musgrave, another guy who his year was shortened to 2 games after, I think it was a knee injury, but he's going to be at the Senior Bowl. He's going to be able to participate at the Pro Day and Combine. Dude's such a wonderful athlete. Could end up being a hot riser up my list. Some guys are already projected him as a potential first rounder, so I'm not even going to go there right now. I first just want to see him back on the field. Jair Brown, great tone setter, a guy that I think is going to be a very good split high. He's like Jaquan Brisker, but 25% off. Tucker Kraft, another tight end that moves exceptionally well that I think is going to sneak into this like mid-day 2 talk. So a guy that also hurt himself early, but he was able to return for the later part of the year for South Dakota State. Jordan Battle, just do good safety, hard hitter. I think he's a good enough athlete to move with tight ends and running backs. And honestly, was shocked that he decided to stay another year at Alabama. I think he should have been in the 2022 draft. Carl Brooks is phenomenal. He's a big, beefy boy that moves better than you would expect, and just he's the strongest guy on the field at any given moment. Love Carl Brooks. Zach Charbonnet and Sean Tucker are quite close to one another. Listen, I'm a mark for Sean Tucker. I love this guy. He's no nonsense, very good straight line speed. This year, kind of a down year. Seems like he was going down a little bit more to contact. But like, I still love this dude as a prospect. Zach Charbonnet, it was literally a Big Ten running back playing in the Pac-12. This guy's another north-south runner, but has a lot more physicality to his game, better than you would expect pass catcher. So I think I'm gonna have to rise him above Sean Tucker, which breaks my heart. I love Sean Tucker. All right, we got Christopher Smith here at safety for Georgia, probably one of the better center fielders in this class. Jalen Hyatt is fast, but is he more than just that? That is my question. Is he more than just that? He did a lot of this out of the slot where he played. He had free releases. He's got. Is he more than speed? Like, we didn't see a lot of after the catch ability with him, or at least in terms of, because he was just running deep. Like, okay, what was this cat's average depth of target? Because like, we didn't really see what he could really do after the catch, because they were really just throwing deep balls to this cat this past season. Like, average depth of target 13.6. Honestly, the contested catch rate much better than I'd expect. So like, I don't know, man. I don't know. He had a stellar year, but is he more than just speed? Headley at linebacker here for Washington State. I think he's another guy, former wide receiver. Moved to linebacker for Nevada, had banger seasons. Came to Washington State as one of the better coverage linebackers in college football. Showed a bit of ability to blitz and get after the passer. Not exactly the best guy at navigating the run game, but if he's able to get his hands on a ball carrier, like, he's better than you would expect as a tackler. Like, a lot of upside with Headley. Tank Dell finally decided to shoot this guy up a little bit on my list. I'm a big fan. Listen, his size sucks. I get it. 5'10", 165. I'm hoping I'm not too Atwell in myself here. I really do, but I really hope I'm not doing that. But like, dude's a slick mover, extremely fast, knows how to fluctuate his speed during the route. Very good route runner. So we'll see him at the Senior Bowl. And I hope I'm not getting played by the size here. Speaking of size, Devin Achane. To be fair, Devin Achane, that LSU game showed, hey guys, I could take a bulk of the carries and I could show you physicality. That dude was so physical. You love to see it. Big fan of Achane after that. He proved to me, hey, he is more than just speed. Rashid Rice, great competitor. Kind of lacks explosiveness to his game, but the guy that can work inside and out. I think he's very solid prospect. Showed a lot of ability after the catch. Sidney Brown, legit. He feels like he's like a fire hydrant stuffed into a cannon, and then you fire. Like, I guess a bowling ball out of a cannon is the actual term. But like, he's kind of stout, kind of lacks length, but like, he's everywhere on the field. Legitimate good athlete, great range, showed ball skills this year. Jalen Jones, a guy you just, great size. You don't want to throw to his side of the field. I don't love him as an athlete. Cody Mach might not end up being a tackle, but a really good guard in the NFL, but you love the movement skills. Felix Anudike Uzama. I know a lot of people probably have him higher than this, probably have him in the top 5 vicinity, but we're about to see a bunch of edge rushers with the, like, in this next, like, little span here. But I feel like Felix Anudike is a bit of a bull in a china shop. He's just on the ground far far too many times than I'd like. Then we got Parker Washington up here, one of my favorite slot options in this draft. I love his hands. I think he does a good job of attacking the football while it's in the air. I love what he can do after the catch. Just a big fan. He's literally like a running back. He goes from pass catcher to ball carrier real quick. Kayshon Boutte. A lot of this is going to come down to his tested. Straight up, I'm not worried about like character concerns with him. Like, I don't want to say I'm not worried about it, but like the change of heart when it came to like, oh, I'm leaving LSU. Okay, I'm back, and then whatever this crap is about his delinquent parties, let's just call it that. Like, character is going to be kind of a big issue. Honestly, my biggest concern with him is like, can he test out explosively? Because he didn't really look as explosive as he did in the past. Keep in mind, he had 2 ankle procedures before coming into the season. So for me, testing's going to be a big thing with him. DeJuan Jones, big dude. This is what everyone wanted Daniel Falalele to be. I think he's just a bit more complete as a tackle than Falalele was. And Falalele still went early 4th round, I believe. So DeJuan Jones, I think going to this range is about fair. Eli Ricks, man, I think he's probably a guy I'm going to move up. He's just real good. It just sucks that he didn't start till the second half of the season, as I guess he got acclimated to the defense there for Alabama. But like, we know this guy can be a good technician. He likes imposing his physicality onto wide receivers. Jack Campbell, just insert real good linebacker here. Just good linebacker. We got Will McDonald, dude that was playing a bit out of position in the Big 12. They love their 3-man front, so he was undersized, playing a bit out of position, but we know this guy can fly. Clark Phillips, I think, is going to get knocked for the size. After, like, I put all, like I take my initial prospect rankings, then I kind of put them wherever I had them projected, and then I start moving guys based on, I would rather take this guy, and I start moving them, and I don't know, man, it was so weird for Phillips to move down this far down on the board for me. And I feel like I should put him up a little bit higher. But, I mean, again, the size, man. Size is going to be make or break for some people. Kalijah Cansey, again, a guy that's a tweener. He's a tweener. But his production was so good there at Pittsburgh. Zach Harrison, I think, is going to test out phenomenal at the Combine. Might make him a top 50 prospect. Keon White, another guy that's kind of a physical specimen, former tight end. Back when he played at Old Dominion, transfers to Georgia Tech, had a very good year. Can't wait to see him at the Senior Bowl. Now on to the top 50. We got Mike Morris. This guy's 290, playing out on the edge. I think he's got a very versatile body type to really play a lot of different roles, and I like that a lot. Luke Whippler. Listen, he's not exciting, but he's just so freaking good at center. Not an exciting guy. And to be fair, Ohio State, they don't really do a lot in terms of movement with their centers, but he's a good athlete. Tali Toi Piloto, I feel like he's not going to be an edge player at the next level, maybe a 3-4 end, or maybe, I think better yet, he's probably a penetrating 3 tech. So, I mean, the numbers were great this year, but he was playing out of position, or at least in terms of what I think he's going to do at the NFL level. Blake Freeland, he's tall, good athlete, reminds me a lot of Abraham Lucas, and I was very high on Abraham Lucas last year. Darnell Washington, man, I get it. Guys aren't supposed to move like the way he moves at 270. What is he, like 6'8", 6'7"? But he's not, let's be honest, he's not like this crazy pass or receiving threat. He's basically like the 6th offensive lineman that can make plays up the seams, in the flats, especially if you could get him going. Like, he really good straight line speed, good red zone threat, but like, just, I don't know. I think it's going to take a certain schemes. It's It's going to take a certain scheme for a team to take him in the top 50. Isaiah Foskey, I think, just has a very high floor, good length, plays with good juice. John Michael Schmidt would have been an A2 pick last year if he decided to come out and decide to stay another year for with Minnesota, and he's still going to be like a day 2 pick. He's just do good center. Andrew Voorhees, absolutely love this cat. I think he's got the ability to play tackle if you really need him to. Ideally, this guy's a guard, though, in the NFL. Andre Carter, unpolished, but in terms of upside, it's all there with him. Manuel Forbes, pick 6, nightmare. 6 pick sixes throughout his career. That's an FBS record if you didn't know. A guy that's a very good zone corner. He's played every type of zone coverage under the sun. So if you're like a zone heavy team, Forbes is going to be real high on your board. Then Mozzie Smith here at 40. Just a guy that was number 1 on Bruce Feldman's Freaks list. The production doesn't really match the potential, but it can. It certainly can. Jamie Robinson. This guy has an exceptionally great nose for the football. I am such a big fan of Robinson. I believe he will be at the Senior Bowl. Yes, indeed. Can't wait. Tanner McKee. He's here at 38. He's going to be, I think he's firmly probably a day 2 guy just because the mobility is not there. But he's such an accurate passer. I think he works exceptionally well inside structure. Like he's going to be a good rhythm passer in the NFL, I think. I really think there is some starting potential with McKee. Then we got Dalton Kincaid, one of my favorite tight ends in this class. Just an exceptional receiving tight end. Jahmyr Gibbs, man. This dude's explosive. Great receiving back. Showed he could move in between the tackles at Bama this year. So here he is at 36. That's actually pretty high for me for a running back. Darnell Wright. Big boy right tackle that might end up being a guard in the NFL, but I'd be willing to give it a shot at tackle. Drew Sanders. Dude's going to test out phenomenally. He's got incredible length, great explosiveness, so big fan. Might end up going higher than this. BJ Ojulari, bit undersized, but this guy's Yannick Ngakoue. I think that's going to be my comp for him. I think it's just a really good comp. He just knows how to get after the passer. Siaki Ika, big space eater that is capable of pushing the pocket. I think he probably sneak into the first round. Antonio Johnson, this is a cat that probably can play a split high safety role, or maybe you play him as this like just big slot guy that's very adept in zone coverage, and that plays exceptionally well around the line of scrimmage. All right, on to the top 30. You got Zay Flowers. And to be fair, Josh Downs, Zay Flowers, they're basically one prospect to me. Excuse me. Listen, they're both undersized. They're about the same size. I absolutely loved Josh Downs' tape this year, and Zay Flowers has got very quality tape. I think they have the ability to maybe make it on the outside, similar to Jahan Dotson. I'm just not positive of which one of these guys is it. So they're probably, until probably we get through like the Shrine Bowl. I know Zay Flowers is at the Shrine. Downs isn't at a bowl. So like maybe after the combine is when I'll like actually figure out how to like separate these two. Trenton Simpson, just exceptionally great out in space, very good blitzer as well. Nolan Smith, probably not going to be able to participate in a pro day or combine because of the torn pectoral, which is a shame. But a very good run defender at his size that is just stupid explosive. Had a 25% win rate. Granted, Georgia, they rotate a lot. Cyrus Torrance, best interior prospect in this class. He's going to be a very good guard at the NFL level. Jackson Smith and Njigba, I decided to move him up because I was like, man, I don't want to just have this guy outside the first round potential. Because honestly, if you're a team that uses your slot, if the slot is something that plays a big role to your offense, you're gonna value Jackson Smith and Jigba pretty highly. So like I feel like having him in a top 25 is pretty fair. But like some offenses are gonna be look at him and be like, he's probably a day 2 guy. Lucas Van Ness, bit unpolished, but like he never started this season at Iowa. However, he constantly had more snaps than the starters. Because like once you get this guy on the field, you don't want to take him off. He's that good. He's got a very versatile body type. He's explosively powerful. Anthony Richardson, man, straight up here at 23 feels about right. MJ, baby. I think when it comes to Richardson, he's a lotto ticket that I think is worth taking a shot on. Just because having a mobile quarterback is, I think, very key to today's NFL. And hopefully he could put it together as passer because he's got a cannon for an arm. We've seen him make special throws. Just getting more consistency. So, like, if you're a team that's willing to sit him, I think it could really pay off. Anton Harrison just needs to get the play strength up. Something he's worked on this past season. It's work in progress, but I think he's one of the better pass protectors in this class. Jordan Addison. I liked that he showed that he could play on the outside. My gosh, this video is like going to be like 50 minutes long. It's a lot of guys to go over. But Jordan Addison, man, just a great field stretcher. Like whether it's vertically or horizontally. Now on to the top 20. Like all the corners are all tight here. Like you see Cam Smith here, Keely Ringo, Joey Porter, Devin Witherspoon. Obviously, Christian Gonzalez is probably inside my top 10, but he is. But like I think I have all these corners relatively close. Just go check out if you want to hear about the corners. Go check out my corner prospect rankings. I think I did a very good job in talking about all 5 of those guys. But we got Michael Mayer here at 18. He's not like athletically, yeah, he's not generational, but he's just a very good tight end. Like he's going to be a consistent chain mover. He knows how to create separation with his length, and he's got a sturdy base. He's able to create after the catch. Very good run blocker. Like he deserves to be here. Broderick Jones here at 17. Dude just needs some polish to his game. To be fair, last year was his first year as a starter. Bijan Robinson 16. This is the highest I probably ever will have a running back. Then obviously here's Joey Porter. Then Will Levis here at 14. I'm moving him up because, hey, dude, like he's quarterback 3 in this class. He really is. Like he's got high end traits. I think there's probably a good chance you could fix the decision making. And to be fair, like in that Kentucky offense, kind of opened him up to having to make bad decisions and play a little bit of hero ball. Like the playmakers were all right. Didn't exactly give him great windows on short to intermediate routes. But the offensive line wasn't that good. And I get it. Like the learning curve is not going to be steep with a guy like this just because his prior 2 OCs were former NFL coordinators or assistants. So, like, he might be a guy you can start right away and hopefully fix the decision making. So, we'll see. We'll see. Here we got Witherspoon and then Quentin Johnston. Big fan. He's my wide receiver 1. Prototypical X size. Can create after the catch. I love it. Brian Branch. I told y'all I was going to be moving this boy up. I'm a huge Brian Branch fan. Does he end up being more than a slot? I don't know. Slot's starting position in the NFL. I think he's got good enough athleticism, play deep. But also, he's just so good around the football. Like, dude has a nose for the football. He's an exceptionally sure tackler. Best tackler in this class, by the way. Just going to say that. I'm a huge fan of Brian Branch. I was even going into the season. And then the top 10, Peter Skoronski. I decided to put Paris Johnson over him now just because length is going to be a concern. Either you're going to love it, or either you're going to see him as a guard, or you're going to be like, let's give this guy a shot at tackle. I think he has a shot I'd be willing to give him a shot at tackle. Here's Christian Gonzalez. He was on Bruce Feldman's freaks list. I'm just a big fan. We saw the ball skills on display during the second half of the season. Just a big fan. Tyree Wilson. Good movement skills for a guy that's like 275. Long wingspan, and just a very good run defender who just needs polish as a pass rusher. We got Paris Johnson here. I thought he did a good job putting it all together at Ohio State this season. I thought he looked very good. Definitely worth a top 10 pick. Brian Brazee, people are split on him. I think in terms of tools, they're there for him. Miles Murphy, another guy that's very toolsy, that's going to test out exceptionally well. And while the production wasn't, I would say, as good as Tyree Wilson, like, I think still it's good enough. I think he's going to test out better than Wilson regardless. So I'm just a big fan of Miles Murphy. CJ Stroud here at 4. Glad that I'm just glad he looked good in the Georgia game, because a lot of people were crap talking him. Will Anderson, I'm gonna lean with Jalen Carter over Will Anderson here. It's really close. It's really 1A, 1B. Have your pick. I'm not going to fight you if you have Will Anderson over Jalen Carter. But my number 1 is Bryce Young. I think he's the best player in this draft. I think, I get it, the size. The size sucks. But he's such a good thrower of the football. Like, if this cat was like 6'3", 6'4", 220, then he would be a generational guy. I think he's that good at throwing the football. I really do. I'm a big fan. But that's it for the video. Let me know what you think. Who do you think maybe should have been included? Yeah, until next time, you be easy, my friends. Later.